Now, as part of his strategy to improve the country's economy, President William Ruto announced a raft of austerity measures aimed at cutting on government spending by up to 300 billion shillings. Slightly over a month since the measures were introduced in state departments and agencies, how much has been achieved? Well, Serfine Achieng takes a look at the austerity measures introduced, their impact, practicality, as well as sustainability.
Faced with the reality of the economic situation in the country, President William Ruto, soon after he took office, announced the plan by the Kenya Kwanza administration to cut on government spending by up to 300 billion shillings in the 2022-2023 financial year through the rollout of austerity measures to cut expenditure in ministries, state departments and agencies. Among the directives listed in a circular by Treasury included a regulation of local and foreign trainings, local and foreign travels, as well as expenditure on office supplies and equipment. Treasury also directed that meetings be conducted in boardrooms, suspended new trainings, purchase of computers and ICT materials, and also initiated controls on workshops and retreats. However, the government's commitment to observing these austerity measures remains in question if the latest trend in terms of travels by government officials is anything to go by. The latest examples include the trip to Angola by Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua and a delegation of government officials who left the country to attend the summit of heads of state and government of the Organization of African, Caribbean and Pacific States in Luanda, a trip that came a few days after Agriculture and Livestock Cabinet Secretary Mithika Linturi, together with Bungoma Governor Ken Lusaka, led another delegation to Rome, Italy, attending the Food and Agriculture Organization Council meeting, all pointing to the fact that these measures are yet to take off. According to Oxfam Kenya Country Director John Kitui, while such trips may be crucial, from an economic lens, it is also pivotal to consider how much may have been spent on the air tickets, accommodation and per diems to facilitate the delegation of government officials and whether the government was genuine in its promise to cut on expenditure.
On one hand, I think when he read the statement and declared that, yes, we have to aim at cutting the 300 billion, it's a very, very good decision, but it could be a political one if no one actually follows, if the cabinet does not follow through and implement some of those austerity measures. And I think the president, the deputy president and the cabinet has to show by example by cutting back on their own travel and meetings and workshops.
His sentiments coming amidst varied opinion over the impact of some of these austerity measures on other sectors, especially on the hospitality industry.
What you're only saying, we are going to limit the trainings that happen in boardrooms or in hotel boardrooms and have them done in government offices. Why did Kenyans build the government offices? Why did the taxpayer build parliament building?
Some of these costs cutting costs are implemented as per the directive of the president, definitely to affect the hotel sector or the hospitality sector. And there are so many Kenyans who have been employed in this sector.
So when we judge whether the government's austerity measures are good or bad, we should not judge it on the basis of whether it's actually the impact on the economy, on GDP, on businesses that depend on it. We should make judgment on, is it prioritizing those sectors that government should be focusing on? Are we removing the budgeted corruption? Some of these things are just budgeted corruption, whether it's meetings. Let's do a lot of meetings and travel. It's one way of increasing our allowances as government staff as well. So that it actually helps address some of that as well.
And on the question of sustainability and practicability of the austerity measures,
all these things are just being said, and I think they will not even happen because they will not work. We are urging the government to revive those subsidies. You know, things like kazi kwa vijana, things like subsidies on fuel, subsidies on fertilizers, subsidies on unga. These are the things we want to hear. If they are saving money to do such things, then we are going to listen to them. But I think what they are talking about is just politics.
Austerity measures do work. The issue here is, where do the funds go? We hope the funds that are being gathered right now from all the ministries, from all the departments and agencies that have been saved will be utilized for the right purpose.
If the president was very, very serious about the fiscal space as a driver of the austerity, he needs to complement that as well with very, very strict expectations of resource mobilization in country, and one of them is actually tackling tax evasion and tax avoidance, sealing those illicit financial flows through corruption or loopholes.
For now, though, the government must make good its word, seal all loopholes of unnecessary expenditure if it is to meet its objective of saving through cutting down on public expenditure. Serfine Achieng, Citizen TV.